Alright guys, most of the time I'll give you a list of stuff you need. This time 99% of you won't be able to make this, so I'm just going to start ahead with the video. First I heated up a pipe to about 1800 and flattened it out and forge welded it, so it's a solid piece of steel now. And fold that over a few times off screen, you can't see, and got it in the basic shape of the knife with the tang. Then I start working it down with a grinder and Dremel and just really getting the scale off. And so now it's not shiny, it's just not scaly. So I went down, did a little bit of hand sanding just to get the nice grittiness and just worked it down nicely. And so now I'm going to start with a wood handle. It's going to be East Indian rosewood, which is an extremely hard wood, but it is beautiful when done. So I took that over the bandsaw and cut that to shape with a nice bevel back and a slot through it on the miter saw to get a place for the tang to fit into. So I really worked that down with the grinder quite a lot. It's just a rough shape because I'm going to take it to the belt sander later, so don't mess with that too much. It's just a rough shape. So after a while I'm getting this done, and I'm going to set that in epoxy overnight after I get it shaped, so it'll be rock solid by the time I come back. So we put a little bit of epoxy on there and set it overnight and let it go. So that's what it looks like put together. Not anything special, not all too shiny, and the wood's nice but not finished. And that's about it, no bevel. After we took it to the grinder and belt sander, now we're just buffing it. The belt sander really makes them shiny, so if you don't have one, it'd be a good thing to invest into. We definitely put a nice bevel on it on the belt sander, so now the buffing wheel's just really making everything a little bit nicer and shinier. So that's going to help a lot. And now we're just taking a little bit of 220 to the handle. That sandpaper is just borderline between rough and soft. And now we're taking that to the buffing wheel, which you wouldn't normally do. I'm just trying to get it nice. Then I wrap the handle in twine and a piece of red felt on the top, and then wrap that in twine and cover the whole thing in Mod Podge. So now you take whatever you're going to write on this. We put True Value on the handle, and you put it mirror reflection and then print that. And so when you lay it down, which you're going to do by putting some polyurethane where you're going to put the thing, you're going to put the piece of paper, lay that down nice and thin. You don't need no thick layer. So then, you can just use your finger like I did, and you just take that, cut it into shape of whatever word you're going to use, which you got to be pretty precise so it fits right. This is actually the first time I've ever done this, and so I was pretty anxious to see how it turned out, which in my mind it turned out really well. I did end up having to touch it up a tiny bit with a little bit of a Sharpie, but that's okay because, first time. But you just cut out your piece, flip it over, and just set it, just set it face down onto there, as we're going to do here in a second. But make sure it's really flush and tight to the piece of wood, or you won't get a full print. And make sure you're also using water-based polyurethane. Oil-based won't work very well at all. You won't get a nice print. So now you can see I'm just pushing it down and making it look just nice and flat and even. So just really pay attention and do some really good work to get that pushed down and nice. So when it comes up, you'll have a nice print. And then I just clean up the handle a little bit. You don't want any extra polyurethane, where you don't want it. And even though the handle's finished with one layer, I just clean it up because I don't want extra on there. And as you can see, you get a better look at the handle. It's just wrapped in twine with some Mod Podge on it, and so it's hard. So just definitely clean up. You don't want any extra. You gotta make sure it's tight. No air bubbles. You're not gonna get a nice print at all. So, just smooth it out as much as you possibly can. As you can see, even I missed some spots, and you know, that's the only reason I had to touch it up, is because I missed some. So you're gonna set that out to dry for about 2 hours, something like that, 2-3 hours, and it should be pretty good and dry. And after that, we're gonna peel some of that off with our hands. Use some water, dip your hand in that water, and it comes right off, and you get this nice, beautiful print. I mean, it was really good for the first time. Never done it, but it turned out good. You're gonna get a white film over the whole thing because of the paper, but that's fine because it comes right off. Just a little water. So as you can see, some of the letters didn't quite come in perfectly. That's where I'd touch up with a Sharpie, but in the end you couldn't tell. So there you go, you can print on wood now. Yay. Alright, well anyway, you just gotta clean that up. I'm gonna just dip this whole thing in poly because why not? I have gallons and gallons of it. So I just dipped that in poly, set out to dry. As you can see, there's a lot there, and that's what it turned out like after touching it up with the Sharpie. It looks absolutely amazing. Alright, here's the demos. Let's let them speak for themselves. As you can see, it just wipes right through that. I mean, absolutely shredded. It's got a nice edge on it. And, you know, I wouldn't want to be the person on the other end of it. So, there's your blade. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I also hope that if you make one, it will turn out great. Remember to subscribe and hit that bell to get all notifications for each new video.